started. I didn't want to be cruel like I am. All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to awards banquet for the 2012 cross-country season. This was a long journey that began for many back in June and finally comes to its conclusion tonight. So I'd like to welcome all the runners, the parents, family members, other friends and guests that may have come with them. First off, I'd like to thank several people that made some contributions to the program in various ways. First, I'd like to thank Andrea Lloyd for helping organize the contacting parents, for providing fruits and drinks and everything for the runners during the races. I'd like to thank Shannon Lynch for lending her expertise in helping give the final designs for all of our team shirts. Thank Shannon and Amy Hendricks, Kayla Parrish, and others that helped with the scoring and other race day activities. I'd like to thank our bus drivers, Ron Boggs, Jason Smith, and Bobby Drake for getting us to our destinations, sometimes with a little bit more excitement than others. I'd like to thank Terry Kane for her work in the concessions during the races, and thanks to the parents for providing fruit and drinks for the kids during the races, and also for volunteering to work in the concession stands during football season to sort of help with fundraising for our program, and also to help carpool some of the runners to the various races that we ran on some of the Saturdays. And last but certainly not least, my most deserving thanks goes to my assistant Rodney Kane, for he does a lot of things for our program, but not just our program, for just about every sports program at Southern High School. Without his time and effort, our program certainly would not be where it is today. I apologize if I left anybody out, but I just wanted to point out a few people to thank. The 2012 season would involve 28 gentlemen and 19 ladies, including managers and one that I'll just call our secretary. Heather. We began our season at home with the Alamance County meet. Boys defended their title, led by medalist Colin Lloyd, while the girls finished second overall, with Kristen Kane being the medalist. The next week, we went to Western Alamance for the other county meet. Girls were victorious this time, with Kristen repeating as champion. The guys finished third overall. Despite having the best team in the county, several of our guys decided on a different strategy for this race in preparation for an upcoming weekend race. That didn't sit very well with the coaches, and they were told so in no uncertain terms that this was not acceptable and would not happen again. Our first weekend race was known as the Jungle Run, a night race held at Southview High School in Hope Mills, North Carolina. This would be the first night race for those that were competing, and a great experience it would be. Competing against some of the top teams from around the region, the guys finished 14th out of 23 teams, led by Colin Lloyd's 4th overall finish. The ladies finished 15th out of 18, led by Kristen's 9th place overall finish. But the best time for me during the whole trip was probably before the race ever happened, when we all went out to eat together. You should have seen the look on the two workers at Subway when we rolled in with about 50 runners, family members, and friends. They had never seen that many people all at one time. But both had very complimentary remarks to Coach Kane and I as we were the last in the line about how well behaved our people were. Yes. Our next race was a very competitive home race against Cedar Ridge. Both girls and guys were victorious. The guys, despite Connor Murray's crash at the start, forcing other teammates to step up, pick up the slack, which they did. It would also mark the first career victory for Denora Ramirez in the girls' race. 6 of our gentlemen then competed in the Adidas Seahawk Invitation in Wilmington and finished 20th out of 27 teams. As a word of motivation for next season, we will be competing in this race, and it will be our first overnight trip. Not for the whole team, but just for the top 7 runners on each team. So a little incentive for those that will be returning to be in that top 7 as we make our first overnight trip. The first Metro Conference race was held at Hagenstone Park in Greensboro. Colin Lloyd picked up where he left off the previous season with a convincing victory, leading the guys to a second place finish, only 2 points behind the winning team. This began our serious quest for the title at the end of the season. The ladies finished a 4th overall finish. Metro race number 2 was almost canceled because of the weather. Not postponed, but canceled. All the other Greensboro teams wanted to cancel the race, but we volunteered at the last minute to change our date and move up the race that we were supposed to host the following week, and we volunteered to host this one. Despite sloppy conditions, the boys pulled out a hard-earned victory, and the girls finished a very strong 2nd place. The 3rd conference meet was held at Northeast Park in Greensboro. Historically, this has not been our most favorite course. Throughout the years, we've had one of the different kinds of problems on this particular course. This year, though, was a great day for our program. This was the first Metro victory for senior Austin Greasy, leading the guys to another victory. Several guys picked up their performance to compensate for the absence of Colin Lloyd as he was nursing an injury and did not run. Kristen Kane also won her first Metro Conference victory, leading the ladies to another surprising strong 2nd place finish. Several of our runners competed in the Greensboro Invitational race and the Hagenstone Classic race on consecutive Saturdays against time competition to gauge our improvement so far. Plus, it gave us 2 more races on the course where the conference championship would be held in a couple of weeks. Our senior day race was held against Greensboro Day and Burlington Christian Academy. We celebrated our 8 seniors by giving them each a photograph of themselves competing in a race sometime during their career at Southern. Hopefully one day they will look back and appreciate what they did and the contributions they've made to our program. The final conference race was held at Western Guilford, where we actually had good weather this year. Both squads had a strong 2nd place finish, gearing up for the conference final the following week. The Metro Conference Championship was to be held at Hagenstone Park in Greensboro and was the opportunity that we had been waiting for and preparing for all season. The boys' race was up for grabs. 3 different teams had won races during the season. I pulled out all the ideas I could think of to convince the guys that we could win this championship. When I asked Connor and Austin earlier that morning if they were ready, they said, "Coach, we got this, don't worry." I wasn't as sure as they were, but evidently they bought into the hot air that I was blowing as we captured the overall conference championship by 10 points. This was our 2nd title in 3 years. Not bad for our program, which had not had a single title before 2010. The girls finished 4th overall, which is where they were predicted. Sometimes predictions do come true. In the extra race, involving over 140 runners, the Patriots fared very well in this race. Kyle Galt, Peyton Goodwin, Sam Soffren, Griffin Henson, Trevor Lane all finished in the top 15 for the guys. On the ladies' side, Kelsey Durham finished 2nd overall, and Christian Hornaday was 10th. The following weekend was the Midwest Regionals, held at Beeson Park. Boys finished a disappointing 7th. Guess we put everything into winning the conference title and had very little left for that race. The ladies finished 11th overall, but most of the ladies ran their fastest times all year, which is what the coaches would hope for. Colin Lloyd qualified for the North Carolina State 4A Championship race to be held the next Saturday in Kernersville. Rebounding from injuries and a little bit of a late season slump, he finished 16th overall with a season's best time of 16:09. The guys finished the season with an overall record of 32 wins and 4 losses, while the ladies were a very respectable 26-11. So another successful season for the Patriot Cross Country program. Now, for the reason that we are here, for the awards and recognition. First, let me announce to all runners that they will receive their letters, pins, and academic certificates later in the spring at the ESPYs banquet that is held in May. We have 47 team members, and out of that 47, 42 were able to qualify for academic all-conference honors. This demonstrates that they are getting the job done in the classroom and are certainly what we consider student athletes. I compliment them as well as to the parents for stressing the importance of the education of their children. Now, our first award is really a recognition for the time and the effort that this young lady put in. Took a lot of strain and stress off of Coach Kane and I. As I said, we called her the secretary. She knew who was out, who was there, why they were out, and if they didn't, she would find out very soon. Just for a token of appreciation for her work, I'd like to present Heather Hornaday. All right, next I would like to present some certificates of achievement for four-year lettermen. Very rarely in this day and age of specialization, athletes tend to, or they are encouraged to specialize in one particular sport. We know that at our school we have athletes that participate in many sports. And it is encouraging when you have individuals that will start a career as a freshman and they will contribute to that program all throughout their senior year. We have four of these individuals. Three of them are here today, and I'd like to present them with a certificate of achievement for being a four-year letterman in our program. First is Mr. Nathan Wood. Next is Mr. Austin Greasy. Next is Miss Ella Thomas. Now the fourth is Miss Morgan Deese, and Morgan had to work today, but I did want to mention one thing. As part of her senior graduation project, Morgan sponsored a 5K race that was held in November at the school to benefit St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital in Tennessee. And she was able to raise over $1,000 for her race. I just wanted to sort of acknowledge that she sort of took what she had done for 4 years and applied it to her graduation project. And I know Coach Kane had a lot to do to help her with the organization of the race and everything, so I just wanted to acknowledge Morgan. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to be here today. All right, as I said, our guys were able to capture the conference championship, the second title in 3 years, and I have a certificate for them. Also, at this time, I want to let them know that on the 29th, on the 29th, they will be recognized at halftime of basketball games. All you guys would need to be there, as well as anybody that would receive all conference awards. So they all need to be at the basketball game on the 29th. All right, I'd like for those members, when I call their name, if they will come up here and all stand until the whole team has been recognized. Just take them in order of class, and some of them are here, some not. Our manager was Wesley Vane. All right, freshman, Wyatt Bailey. I'll tell you, just hold your applause till everybody gets up here, please. Clifton Griffin. That's you. Colton Sheffield. Chad Humphrey. Zach Libermento.
Who's that?
Zach was an interesting situation. Zach was taking a class over at our career and technical college. He was the only one in the afternoon taking the class over there, so we would have to figure out transportation for him. As you can see, Zach is one of our smaller members on our team. They would send an entire bus just to pick up Zach to make sure that he was back. So he was Trevor Lane. Kyle Hurley. Griffin Henson. Now Peyton go. Tristan Isley. Spencer Lloyd. Now, I can't go without saying something. As you can see, Spencer also is one of our smaller members. But he talks more junk than any other member.
I can take college.
All right. And our last freshman was Teddy Fritz.
Thanks, too.
All right, sophomores, Chase Neeks, Ralph Wampler. Kyle Goff. Nick Harper. Thomas Holt. I also have to say something about this young man. Got a lot better at cross country. We poked fun at Thomas as a freshman because he made cross country into a contact sport. I think he would end up with more mud on him than some of the football players. This year, a lot better. And Holden Drake. And our last sophomore, Griffin Ellis. Juniors. Gets the award for wearing the smallest shirt on the team. That's right. Jose Ledesma Gonzalez, depends what day of the week Jose wanted to go by. He had a wrestling tournament today. Ryan Alshouse. I will say that some of my teaching fellows, B-building, are starting to worry a little bit about Ryan. He leads the conference in butt slapping. So. And Colin Long.
He's a manager.
And we have 4 seniors. Sam Soffin. Sam found out he was supposed to be here, found out he had to work last night, so Sam couldn't be here. Connor Murray.
Yeah, Connor.
Nathan Wood. And Austin Greasy. Like I said, these gentlemen were the 2012 Metro Conference champions. All right, in the Metro Conference Championship race, the top 15 overall runners get the distinction of being recognized as all conference. Right? We had several individuals. First, we'll start with the ladies. Finishing 13th overall was Mr. Nora Ramirez. Did you hear that, Ty? He's coming.
Okay.
All right. Finishing 7th overall, Miss Kristen Kane.
Okay, dude.
All right, for the gentlemen, finishing 14th overall was Teddy Frisk. Finishing 10th overall was Jose. I said Jose had a wrestling tournament that he had to go to today. Finishing 9th overall was Mr. Ryan Allshouse. Finishing 8th overall, Mr. Austin Greasy. And finishing 1st overall to repeat as the Metro Conference Runner of the Year, Mr. Colin Lowe. Those were the individuals that received all conference recognition. Right, the North Carolina State Coaches Association, Athletic Association gives a participation award to those individuals that qualify for the state championship race. I'd like to give this certificate to Mr. Colin Lloyd. All right, now for the individual awards, the first one to give out is for the most improved runner. Sometimes how this award is sort of determined will be from a runner's performance from one year to the next. In some cases, it may be how much they improved from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. For the ladies' most improved runner, this young lady, to be honest, I don't think she really knew how good that she could be. And by the end of the season, she was one of our top runners. Unfortunately for her, we said in the conference championship, the top 15 are recognized as all conference. This young lady finished 16th. But as a freshman, she had a great year, looking for good things for her. The most improved runner, Miss Sarah Bowman. Most improved runner for the guys. This gentleman improved a lot from his previous year as a freshman to where he was a serious contributor to the scoring team, top 5 performers score in the overall score, but as we talked about during the practices, that it takes more than just those top 5 runners. You know, the second 5 is just as important. This gentleman competed in every race that we ran in, whether it was team-wide events or the Saturday individual invitational races. And Coach Kane and I thought that he deserved the most improved runner, was Mr. Griffin Ellis. The Coaches Award, I don't know if there's a set criteria that is involved to say how this award is determined, but Coach Kane and I talked about this, for a lot of times, for what this gentleman has meant to our program, not just in the races, but in practice, and just basically all aspects of what is done at our school, not just in cross country, but what is done at our school. He gives me a lot of grief at times, but I will have to say that I will miss him when he leaves next year. Coach's Award goes to Officer Gibson. Coach's Award for the ladies. This young lady, to be honest, she didn't know if she could run cross country when the season started. When we talked about it, she said, "I'm more of a track person. I don't know if I can actually do this." But she did very well. She actually won a race for us. She also was able to achieve all conference awards. But she did a lot of little things as well. I think that she led our team in picking up trash. The idea is after every practice, I would always yell, "Don't leave your trash, don't leave your trash." Well, this lady's what became the trash lady. But she did a lot of things to encourage others to do well during the season as well. The Coach's Award goes to Ms. Denora Ramirez. The Runner of the Year is basically our most valuable player. It is determined by their overall finishing averages, so there's no decision that is made by the coaches. It's based on their performance. Right? With 5 overall individual victories in races this year, the Runner of the Year for the men, Mr. Colin Lowe. For the ladies, with 3 individual victories, she finished first for the team in every race that she competed, Ms. Christy Kane. The last individual award is something that Coach Kane and I came up with a couple of years ago. We call it the Patriot Award. It is based on a variety of different criteria based on performance, service, leadership, character, academics, sportsmanship, a lot of intangibles, a lot of miscellaneous ideas. The Patriot Award for the ladies goes to a young lady that, to be honest, I didn't think that she was going to run this year. She probably didn't have the overall performance that she would have wished for as a senior, but she stayed with me for 4 years. She will tell you that as an individual, her best years were her freshman and sophomore years when she was all conference. She stayed with our program for 4 years, and she sets a great example for the young ladies for her work in our program as well as in the classroom. The Patriot Award goes to Ms. Ellen Thomas. On the men's side, I don't know what I can say about this young gentleman. When he was a freshman, to be honest, I'll tell you, I didn't like him very much. First time, the idea, I didn't know him. But just my first impression, I didn't care for him. But most of you have all heard the old adage, don't judge a book by the cover. Don't make the first impression, last. And as I got to know this gentleman, he wasn't at all what my first impression was. He sets a great example of what a student athlete is. Takes care of himself, obviously in the classroom. He's a great competitor. He handles things in a way that most young people wouldn't be able to handle certain situations. As we said, for all conference honors, you have to be in the top 15. Now, not only did this gentleman finish 16th once, he finished 16th 3 years in a row. But he always was what's more important for the team. And I always appreciated his zest for taking up for his teammates. We had one situation where one of our female teammates was having some personal problems, and he overheard me having a conversation with her, and he said, look, if somebody's giving you a problem, we'll take care of it, don't you worry. So he was always looking out for what was best for not only himself, but the whole program. And as I said, he sets a great example for everybody, not just how to do things on the athletic fields of competition, but the classroom as well. The Patriot Award goes to Mr. Connor Murray. This season was one of highs and lows, peaks and valleys, triumph, tragedy, victories and defeats, all the cliches that you would like to say. It was a very difficult personal season for me, with the loss of a loved one, separation, but I always knew that the kids would be there to brighten my day, or to lift my spirits regardless of circumstances. And those are some of the unspoken joys that you can receive of being a coach. I'm very excited about the prospects for next season with returning veterans, that we should even be better than we were this year. I encourage runners to participate in spring track if they are not, to run in local races during the summer, and to participate in our summer workouts which begin in June. I also encourage them to continue their hard work in the classroom. For those juniors to sign up for the SAT if they have not done so already, and for our graduating seniors for continued success beyond their days at Southern. Now, let's have fun bowling. You pay at the counter for your bowling. I appreciate everybody being here.
We're not done. We're not done. We're actually not done. Don't get up yet.
All right, so as a lot of you guys know, we're the 3 seniors on this team. There's more seniors. Nathan's a senior, Sam, Morgan Deese, and Chelsea Gutierrez. They're not here tonight. So I've been here for Nate's here yet, but I've been running for 3 years. These 2 people are both 4-year seniors, and so we thought it'd be a good idea to kind of honor our coaches for everything they've done for us over the past 3-4 years. They're both some of the best coaches we've ever had. So at first I'd start out by saying that we have both of y'all made collages for both of you. So we made this for you guys. You're welcome.
All right, and we also wrote each of the coaches a letter. The other day we met together and put our brainiac minds together and wrote our letter. So this first one is to Coach Kane, and I'm going to read it to the crowd here. It says, to our dearest Coach Kane, thank you. You have been an amazing coach, friend, and mentor in our lives. We greatly appreciate your drive to push us over and above just school practices, such as summer workouts and weekend practices. Also, thank you for bettering us on more than one level. You always seem to understand our point of view, and you would always have our backs in every situation. We loved your team bonding practices that emphasized that team growth was more important than our individual accolades. We attribute many of our accomplishments to your desire to see us succeed. We have learned many things about you through the cross country, but most importantly, we have learned that you love us and want nothing but the best for us in college and our future walks in life. Sincerely, us 3.
All right, the next one is to Coach B, and if I get a little emotional, I'm sorry. To the love of our lives, we are speechless. You
That's the first.
You are indescribable. You've been a guiding light in our lives over these past 4 years, and from across country to U.S. history to being our second father. Your guidance as a coach has pushed us to be the ultimate competitors and determined runners and loyal teammates. Not only have you taught us on the course, but also in the classroom, where we have learned to become diligent and responsible students. Back to cross country, where your 10-minute speeches included no less than 5 cliches, which Ellie never got to experience because she was always late to practice. And let's return to running, where we enjoyed your words of encouragement and rather sneaky hiding spots along the course. We actually didn't care about you catching us a few times when we were cutting the course. Before, during, and after practice, we thoroughly enjoyed messing with your Silver Explorer Sport Track. But past all the jokes, you have truly been one of the most influential people in our lives. We honestly feel that we can come to you with any of our struggles because you understand the busy, stressful, and chaotic teenage lives. Our busy, stressful, and chaotic teenage lives. Although we didn't get along in some situations, thank you for always believing in us as individuals and on the team. We appreciate your commitment to our athletic and academic careers throughout these past 4 years, and we look forward to using all that you have taught us in the remainder of our lives, and the memories we make will never be forgotten. We love you. Sincerely, us three. Now we're done.
Thank you. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you. Love you.
Thank you, buddy.